Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football. Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today. We're coming into this preview for the first time in a while with a little bit of a smile, with a little bit of a relaxation, with a little bit of a vibe, right? Because Chelsea have picked up 2 wins out of 2, you know? Although many people are looking at that and going, yeah, you've reached your quota for the next 15 games. So, no, we'll see what happens, right? But we've got to pick up a win tomorrow. We've got to pick up a win tomorrow at Leicester, at the King Power. And we're going to preview all of that very, very shortly. Before we do, couple of things. Firstly, make sure you check out the social media links in the description. Twitter and Instagram are there. And talking about Twitter, right, I have to take about 2 minutes to discuss what has just happened with Gary Lineker and Match of the Day, right? Because it's actually quite incredible that Gary Lineker has been suspended by the BBC, and it's been deemed as he's taking a step back. But apparently, and according to Sky, who would probably poach him at any given moment so he'd go on Sky Sports, are saying that's not true. And it's only up until him and the BBC come to some sort of an agreement on how he uses his social media will he then be brought back onto Match of the Day. After that was announced, Ian Wright came out and said, I'm not going on. If he's not going on, I'm not going on. And now Alan Shearer has gone, I'm not going on if he's not going on. So it's not a Top Gear situation, except this time it hasn't happened to a couple of people that are, on the right. It's happened to a few people that are on the left, right? And when I say left and right, we're talking politics, right? So in terms of what Gary Lineker has said, look, I'm going to narrow it down to this. You can agree or disagree with whatever Gary Lineker does put on his Twitter account. Personally, it shouldn't really faze you. I disagree with quite a bit that he puts on his Twitter account. I agree with some that he puts on his Twitter account. At the end of the day, he's got his right to an opinion. And the fact that he's been suspended sets a very dangerous narrative. And I do want to send this out to everyone watching, because I know that there are a couple of people that have been a little bit hypocritical here, right? There's a lot of people that have been screaming on the left, right, that are now going, oh, no, how dare the BBC get rid of someone like Gary Lineker? How dare they suspend him? Where's the freedom of speech? Where's this and where's that, right? And then when it happens to someone that they don't agree with, they don't really say anything. And now, after today, what we are seeing is many people on the right that are talking about freedom of speech and have done for quite some time. I mean, cancel culture does tend to affect a lot more people that are more right-wing than left-wing. That's something that's pretty obvious, right? And you get a lot of advocates that come out and say, no, freedom of speech for all. Everyone has a right to say what they please. Gary Lineker gets suspended because of something that he says, which is quite left-wing. And then you get them that are going, no, it's all right if he gets suspended. No, it's not. It's not. This is a dangerous territory for everybody. Cancel culture is rotten. Cancel culture should not exist, right? I remember a time, many of you might be young, right? Which I feel old saying that. But I remember a time when I was I was young where cancel culture didn't exist, right? You could not get cancelled. It just didn't exist, right? If people just disagreed with you, they would just stop watching. That's it. They would disengage and then you would fizzle out and that's it, right? But now it's a case of personal attacks and suspensions and bring him back and bring him down and take this away from him and take this away from her. And it's completely needless. And I think a lot of people that are now debating, oh no, he shouldn't be suspended. No, he should be. He shouldn't. You're falling into the trap. You're falling into the trap, right? You're falling into it in terms of debating what he actually said on Twitter. Don't. He has his right to an opinion. You agree with it, you agree with it. You disagree, cool. But it should be left at that. The fact that the BBC have actually taken him back because he's expressed a personal opinion on his Twitter account, which I'm pretty sure was probably not part of the contract with Match of the Day and the BBC, right, is actually quite insane. Which means that you're now limited in what you can say in the public eye just because you have a personal opinion that you'd like to share on your personal Twitter account. It's actually quite crazy. When you deep it, that's totalitarian. Yeah? We can't be allowing that. So whether you're right or you're left, you agree or disagree, it's a dangerous precedent that's getting set for many people that speak in the public eye. Now, everyone's going to be walking on eggshells, and many people have already. It cannot continue, honestly. People need to stop being scared of what they want to say just because of a backlash. They have to stop being scared, but this is what helps. This is what causes it. So honestly, we'll see what happens with the Match of the Day. At the end of the day, Match of the Day, Now, we live in an age now where if you do want to watch highlights, you will be able to watch them. Yeah, the BBC better understand this. Not everyone's tuning into TV every week. But what people are tuning in is to be able to interact with the personalities that are on that show. Gary Lineker is part of the fabric of Match of the Day. You know, it's like when Jeremy Clarkson was part of the fabric of Top Gear. Who watches Top Gear now? You think the same amount of people that watched it back in the day? I stopped watching it, that's for sure. So, you know, Grand Tour was the place to go to after that. So this is where the BBC have to understand. The people are going to get their highlights whether you like it or not, right? Best to keep Gary Lineker, Ian Wright, Alan Shearer, everyone that actually does a good job. And if you do actually want to look at someone that is, this is my opinion, honestly, as I've said, but Jermaine Genius, right? Not great in terms of punditry when it comes to Match of the Day. That's just my personal opinion. You might agree or disagree. You can let me know in the chat, actually. But again, that's something like that. You agree or disagree? Everyone's got a right to an opinion. So honestly, that's where I stand. Anyway, I thought that should be said because it's breaking news and it's all just come out now. And I think it's an important point to make. You know, it's an important point to clarify. Cancel culture is just rotten. It needs to stop on both ends. People need to stop falling into the trap and realize this affects everybody. This affects everyone. You don't want to see one side go down and then scream victory. Cancel culture is affecting everyone, whether you're left or right. So be aware. Let's get into Leicester City versus Chelsea. Chelsea, off the bat of a beautiful 2-0 win against Dortmund. I say beautiful, but after what we've been through, it is beautiful. And we needed it. Leicester, not in a very good place either. This is the thing. When you're looking at the Premier League table and you're looking at the form and you're looking at how bad it's been for the teams that are involved, Chelsea currently sitting 10th, still 10th, although tied on points with Aston Villa on 34, and Leicester in 15th on 24. So they're 10 points behind, having played the same amount of games. They can think, we can close that gap to 7 if we do win. But this is the thing, Chelsea at King Power. At the King Power Stadium, it's a bit of hit and miss. It's a bit touch and go. Because Chelsea have had good results there, but we've also had shockers. And the 2 times that we've actually lost there, I think both times we've had a manager sacked. So that's not great in terms of record. But I don't think anything's going to happen to Graham Potter. Now, what I do think is if Chelsea do lose, right, it's pressure back on again. And not to say the pressure's not on, the pressure is on, but we go back to square one. And especially if we don't correct it against Everton, that's where I think it could probably kick off again and go back to how it was when we lost to Southampton. So we can't allow that to happen. Look, we've beaten Leeds. We've tried something new. Not new, but we've shifted the system back to something that we know has worked previously. We've shifted it back to a way of playing that we know we have a bit of muscle memory to. So we've done that. And then we've carried it on to Dortmund. And we've won. And we scored 2 goals for the first time since December. Beautiful, right? We now need to keep this going. Just like the video that I done in terms of what I now expect. It's not just what I expect. It's what Chelsea need. We absolutely need to get results. Regardless of how you get it, we need to get the results. The results are the most important thing. Hence why I'm not making a big deal about when he's decided to trigger substitutions, for example, against Leeds and against Dortmund. Minute 67 and minute 68, respectively. 68 against Leeds, 67 against Dortmund. At the end of the day, though, we got the result. It worked, right? It's risky because you leave yourself a lot of time to get exposed, but if you don't, it pays off, right? And it paid off. So, can't debate it. We got 3 points and we got a 2-0 win against Dortmund and we're through to the quarter-final. Happy days. So, when you look from that aspect, we have to keep it going, right? Yes, we tend to play a little bit more defensive after scoring. We don't want to concede. I'm all for that. We tend to close the lines a little bit more. We tend to park a bus if you do want to bring that back a little bit. I don't mind that. It's as simple as that. We need the points. So hopefully tomorrow we end up going in a very disciplined manner, a very construed manner. We get the result, we pick up our bags and we come back to London. Now, in terms of team news, this is where it gets a little bit hit and miss now because Sterling apparently felt a bit of tightness in his hamstring. Honestly, our hamstrings are made of cheese, right? Cheese strings, yeah? We should change the muscle for every single Chelsea player. It's not called the hamstring anymore. It's called the cheese string. Is the cheese string pulling? You know, is the cheese string a little too tight? We got to call it cheese string, because honestly, our hamstrings at this club it's non-existent. So Sterling is going to miss the game because he's a little bit tight, which I have to talk about our training. What do we do in training? You know, because a lot of people think if there's a lot of the same injury, it means we're training too hard. It can also mean you're not training enough. It can mean you're not training enough. You're going through a match day situation, you're pushing yourself over the line, and then you do yourself damage because you're not doing what you should be doing in training. Or we're not paying attention to the medical side of things enough when it comes to during the week and whatnot. So there's many ways of it. Or are we training too hard? Which right now I have to say, I don't really think so. I don't think Potter seems to be that guy. So this is where I'm looking at the players. I'm like, what's going on? You all made of cheese. Sterling's out with a tight hamstring. Reece James is out because he's ill, right? Apparently he's ill. Now, you can make of that what you will. Is he actually ill? Maybe he is. Is he being protected because maybe he's still got the same hamstring issue? Who knows, right? Because it would be quite annoying, and I think Potter is a guy that's going to protect his players through thick and thin in the public eye no matter what, right? So I don't... You could argue that there is a possibility that he could come out and go, nah, he's ill. Instead of coming out and going, oh no, it's the same problem. It's the same problem. It's the same problem. It's the same problem. And then it creates a sort of hassle and a havoc amongst the fan base. He could easily just go, yeah, no, he's ill. Boom. Fine. We all accept it. It's a possibility. Or he might just be ill. It's like Mason Mount. Apparently he's out, right? Because he's not 100%. Well, obviously he's not 100%. The whole contract situation is probably in his head, you know. So he's not. I don't believe he's injured, right? I just think that he's been, you could say, protected right now, because if he does play, he probably puts in a stinker. It's going to put a complete damp on all contract negotiations. The fan base will probably go on his case even more. Potter's the sort of guy that is going to protect his players. So I think there's an element of that. And Kante's not ready yet, which is understandable. Kante, we know, has just only come back to full training, so we know it's going to take time for him to get to full match fitness. Apart from that, everyone's available. So apart from that, yeah, we're all good. So when we're talking about the starting 11 and who we're going to play and whatnot, look, when it comes to the Dortmund games and how we play, I honestly did not want to change that starting 11 or the team that got the job done. I think it's important that we protect that and we continue to use that and see how far it takes us, because we need to build some sort of consistency, you know. So when it comes to that, we have to now acknowledge who's going to be out and whatnot and make the correct shifts. So let's get into the starting 11 and what I've decided to go with. Let's crack. So in goal, we absolutely Kepa. And I have to take a moment for Kepa, because it's true, I didn't give him enough praise or enough credit when he absolutely did deserve it, and I feel like many didn't, because of the performances of some of the others. And you know, Kepa's been good throughout quite some time now. He's just doing his job, you know, whereas the rest have had shockers. And now against Dortmund and whatnot, we've seen him do well, so they get more attention. Kepa, though, against Dortmund was phenomenal. Class, right? And even before that. So he deserves the praise. Kepa deserves the praise. And for that, he starts. We absolutely need to stay with the back three. That's just because it's clearly just better, right? And as I've said, I don't think it's a monumental difference, but it's just what we know. It's just what we know. And I think a lot of people, wait for it. Because I know the day will come. We will lose a game. And we'll be playing the back three, and then everyone will be going, oh no, we can't play the back three anymore. We've been found out. We've got to go back to a back four. It's not how it works. This is why I'm saying going back to a back three, yes, it's better in terms of some of the placements of the players and the positioning, but it's not the deciding factor. It's really not. It's really not. It depends on the system and how you actually move the ball, whether it's a back three or back four. The back three helps because some of the players are already accustomed to it, and we tend to have a bit more of an attacking threat using our wing backs. We occupy some of the half spaces a little better, both offensively and defensively, rather than a back four, where we tend to leave a little bit more space open and we have one less man in certain duels on the pitch. That's it. So when it comes to a back three, we stick to it for now because it's just the best of both worlds. The back three, I would go for Fofana, right centre-back, Badiashile and Koulibaly. Now, debatable. Some people are going to say, where's Cucurella? Cucurella deserves to play. He does. But Badiashile doesn't deserve to get dropped. And this is where, look, I have to look at this from this point of view, right? Badiashile has been consistent over quite a number of games, even in the absence of Thiago Silva. Cucurella has had one great game. And some would say, yeah, now build on it then. But Badiashile has just been more consistent. We could do with that. It's an incentive for Cucurella to be able to keep things up and to push himself harder. That way, it may be against Everton, he gets a game. Right? Because if he plays, for example, and then he has another good game, and then he drops a stinker, at that point, everyone's going to go, oh, well, we should have played Badiashile. Well, Badiashile is consistent. He needs to keep playing. Right? When the chance arises for Cucurella again, he needs to put in a top performance. And then at that point, we go, okay, when called upon, he delivers. Now we need to think about starting him. But for now, Badiashile. For me, anyway, Badiashile. So, Cucurella, nothing against what he done. He's fantastic against Dortmund. But for me, consistency is what we need right now. Badiashile starts at least just tomorrow against Leicester. And that's the back three for Fofana and Koulibaly to fill in. Koulibaly in that central role actually done really well against Dortmund, and I feel like he can do it again. So Koulibaly in the middle. At wing backs, this is where it's going to get interesting. We go with Chilwell at left wing back, and at right wing back, considering Reece James is ill, he's not available. Aspie is not still not in the squad. We have to go Loftus-Cheek, which you might get a really good game out of Loftus-Cheek, but sometimes you do get a really bad game out of Loftus-Cheek, and this is where it gets risky. But we haven't got a choice. We either do this or we go back to a back four. Pick one. And even then, we play Chalobah right back in that case. Some would say play Chalobah right wing back. He's not a right wing back. Chalobah's not the guy to bomb forward. No. He can play as a right back, yes, in terms of hitting the halfway line and getting back in time, but that's it. He's not the guy to run all the way down, pinging crosses. He's not a good cross of the ball anyway. So I think it's fair. Loftus-Cheek has to fill in at right wing back, and I'm hoping that he delivers and he puts in a good job. In the midfield, we stick with what worked. We need consistency again. Enzo and Kovacic, 100%. Zakaria can always come on. We'll see what happens in terms if we want to balance out the game, if we want to close shop a little bit, if we want a bit of a John Obi Mikel effect, we can bring on Dennis. Or even Gallagher, if you just want him to run and disrupt everybody. I have to say, Gallagher, not my cup of tea. But if you tell him, listen, there's 20 minutes left, can you just go and destroy everything you see? Just run, tackle, kick the ball away. That's all I need from you. He'll actually do it. He's actually really good at that. But that's it. So Kovacic and Enzo, I feel like are they building a relationship? Are they building some sort of chemistry now, dynamic between them? It looked good against Dortmund. Let's see if we can keep going. So those two in the double pivot. And then the front three, I think needs to be the same, except we can't because of Sterling. So I think it's only safe that we go with these. Havertz keeps his place because he did put in a good performance against Dortmund. Albeit, as I've said, just like Cucurella, it's not enough, right? But with Havertz, there's a problem. With the forward line, there's a problem. Because unlike Cucurella, where we've got Badiashile that we know is consistent and we can rely on, with our striking situation, we don't have that. Aubameyang's not available either now because apparently he's done his back in. Make of that what you will. I don't believe that. But anyway, that's just me. It might be true. It might not be true. Personally, I don't buy it. I just think he's not going to play for Chelsea again. That's basically it. And Fofana's probably been looked at and going, you're too young, inexperienced, it's too much to ask. We're going to stick with Kai Havertz, especially after a game against Dortmund like that. Let's see if he can build up some form. Let's see if he can take that performance and replicate it tomorrow against Leicester. And if he does, then fair play. But if he doesn't, then we know he's just good against the Germans. And against Bundesliga teams. And that's it. Madueke fills in for Sterling. Felix on the left-hand side. And then maybe later on we bring on Mudryk. Maybe. But he's definitely not starting. So Madueke on the left, Madueke on the right, Felix on the left, Havertz up top. And that would be my starting 11. And in terms of a score prediction, I'm going to be a little optimistic for tomorrow, right? Just because we are feeling a little better, right? And now after seeing what we are actually capable of, this goes back to my point during the losses that we were going through. I was saying, look, this team isn't this bad. It's not. We are better than this. Right? Look at how we done against Dortmund. Great performance. we have it in us. We need to keep that going now. If not, everything against Dortmund becomes void. Unless if we just go on to win the Champions League somehow. Because that would be a very Chelsea thing to do, can I add. We need to beat Leicester. And then we need to beat Everton. And then we need to continue that and build up some form. That way we can actually look and go, okay, we've actually turned the corner now. We can put everything that happened behind us. We've turned a corner. We're now building up some form. Potter's picking up W's. And then maybe you start to think, can this work? Can this actually work, right? If we do now give it a bit of time, can it work? Are we starting to find solutions? Because the worry before is we're not finding any flipping solution. Nothing's changing. Now, there's a chance, but we have to beat Leicester. If we drop points tomorrow, it's back to panic mode. It's back to panic mode. So tomorrow, my score prediction, I'm going to be optimistic and consider that we can take what we've done against Dortmund forward. And I'm going to go Leicester 1, Chelsea 2. 2-1 win. Leicester, I think, will score just because at the King Power, they do tend to score against us. They tend to score against big teams anyway when it comes to the King Power. They just lose most of the games. But I think they'll probably get one, and hopefully we get one more. So I'm going with that logic for tomorrow. 2-1 win to Chelsea. Let me know your prediction down below, your lineups, how you see it going. Much appreciated, and I will see you after the game and after it's all said and done for my match review. Thank you all very much for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Smash the like button if you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you tomorrow, people. Have a good one. See you lot then. Take care and peace.